Those of you who just arrived can move to the front. There are lots of seats in the front. Okay, welcome. It's okay, come all the way to the front. Hey, a very good morning again, once again to everyone. Okay, when I first arrived, there was only about 10% of this room filled. I thought I'd better tell them not to schedule my talks anymore. Anyway, I'm a replacement speaker. It was supposed to be Venerable Ratanasara, who was supposed to be giving a talk, but he can't make it. So I've now been given a role as replacement speaker. So whenever the speaker can't come, then I will appear. Okay. Right, so today's talk is on Metta and kindness. And actually, Metta is usually translated as loving kindness. And one would ask, is there kindness without love? Is there? It's hard to be kind without love, right? It's easy to be cruel without love, but hard to be kind without love. And that's perhaps how the word metta is being translated. But I always like to bring us back to the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the Buddhist path, right? Which I hope all of you know what they are. So can I just do a quick revision? I know those who have learned under me would remember it very well, but in case those who have never, so the first four letters, what are they? Visa, very good. So who doesn't have a Visa card? You have Visa in your life regardless. Okay? So V-I-S-A. V for view, I for intention, S for speech, A for action. Okay? So from today onwards, you should not forget what your path is as a Buddhist. Noble Eightfold Path, Visa. Otherwise, you should not spend your Visa card. You cannot remember what it stands for. View, intention, speech, action. Connected by le, which is what I call a French word. L for livelihood. E for effort. That connects to the next highest, most prominent brand of bank's credit cards, which is MasterCard, MC. M for mindfulness, and C for concentration. Okay? Easy to remember, right? That's it. So you cannot not remember this anymore. So Visa, Le, MasterCard is the Noble Eightfold Path. But don't overspend your credit, whether it's your card or your karma. Okay, so the first factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, is not there for no reason. We've got to have the right view towards life. And what is our view for living? Do we live only for ourselves? Which a lot of people do. That's why we say the world is very selfish, or made up of a lot of selfish people. That's why there's so many problems. If people live less for themselves and more for others, the world will be a better place. And there are many people who do that. That's not to say there aren't. But it will be even a better place if more people live to benefit others. I remember many years ago when I first heard this, live to benefit others. Wow, I thought, what a change to my worldview of why I'm living, or my purpose in life. And when you live for others, you start to think beyond the self. You become more selfless, more others, and less self. Less of the self, more of others. But one may ask, why bother? Everyone take care of themselves, which is how we're raised most of the time. Look after yourself, not look after others. And I remember there was this friend who had a son who was quite young, about 5 or something. And he had this toy that came from McDonald's. It's a toy that when you squeeze it, stuff pop out the eyes and everything. You know, it's this squeezy thing. And my daughter happened to like it. And he said, "Oh, okay, you can have it." And I thought, wow, that's so impressive that a child would give a toy away. You know, those of you who got children or who have seen kids, most kids don't like to give anything away. If anything, they want more, not less. And I was really impressed with this child. Now, unfortunately, my friend said to the child, "You sure you don't want it anymore? You sure? You didn't give it away, huh?" Now, don't you think it's sad? I mean, I thought it was sad, but maybe, you know. If my kid can give things away without me prompting, I'll be so proud of my kid. And I have to teach them to give, threaten them to give sometimes, like, you know. Or they're not going to get any more new toys, they're not going to give away their old toys, right? That kind of threat. But this child was just voluntarily giving it away. How wonderful. But then you have the mother saying that, "Why do it? You shouldn't do it." So sometimes how much we give in life depends, or our ability to give depends so much on the conditioning that we have been receiving around us, especially when it starts as when we were children. How we were encouraged or even discouraged to give, or how we were never encouraged to give, and basically just told, "Look after yourself," instead of grow up and look after others. Now the reality is, when we do look after others, a lot of happiness come back to us. Because where do our happiness come from anyway? From the relationships we have with other people. When other people in turn show us kindness, extend their generosity, appreciate our existence, that you are indeed a positive difference to their lives. And that's why you feel good living. It's like, wow, other people love me. And that's because you are living for others. You're living for them. You're touching their lives in a positive way. So that's why in all our practice, whatever we do is go back to right view. What is our view in life? When I was coming through here, coming up, I bumped into Catherine downstairs. The lady who selflessly worked downstairs to make sure your food is ready when you finish the talk in this comfort of coolness. And she's down there in the heat preparing the food, not even getting a chance to listen to the Dhamma talk. And many other volunteers do that as well during Ajahn Brahm's talks. You may be sitting there listening, but there are many volunteers showing, you know, people how to get in the lift and providing all the ushering services downstairs. So Catherine I was bumping into when I was coming up. And she told me she had a wonderful pilgrimage. How many of you went? How many of you here went on the pilgrimage? Was it good? And apparently the Venerable said that she has been on a few pilgrimages with different groups, and she has found this group to be really exceptional. And I felt really proud, being part of BF, that the group that went was exemplary, because this indicates how well we are practicing as a group. Because whatever we do, we rub off on each other. And so why were they so-called exemplary? Because nobody showed an ugly face. How many of you went on a tour and showed an ugly face? Often, right? Especially when you join tour groups. When you join tour group, you paid money, you expect pleasure. You expect to be served. You expect to be given what you want. That's why most of the time people go on tour groups, come back with a lot of complaints. I see someone touching somebody else, so I guess that must have been the case. That's why I don't go on tour groups anymore, unless it's a BF group. Because when we travel as a BF group, there's a lot more spirituality in it. And you may say, yes, when you go on a tour group, you hope everybody is spiritual, but of course it's not, because everybody's just going to want to get a lot of pleasure. So there was no ugly face because nobody was angry. And you can say, yeah, it's because when you go on a pilgrimage, you're supposed to be spiritual. But I've also seen spiritual groups not being very spiritual when they're traveling on a pilgrimage. I remember sitting at the foot of the Buddha statue, of course not the real Buddha, at Kusinaga, and I was just sitting there meditating. And before I knew it, I had this big bang on my head with a handbag by this group chanting and circumambulating the Buddha statue. So while they are so-called collecting merits, they knocked the wind out of me. But was I angry? No. Disappointed? Yes. Disappointed that, if you're on a spiritual journey, once again, why are you on that spiritual journey? So you collect merits? It's about me again? Me? Or because you want to become a better person? Because the spiritual journey helps you to realize that this path to enlightenment makes us a better person. So when you become a better person, you become more aware of your surroundings. Aware that there are other people in this world, that there are other people around you. And therefore, the kindness of practice starts from this very moment. Not after you finish your pilgrimage. Not after you collected all your merits and you see that it has in fact brought you tangible happiness. Yeah? Now, BF is so unique that we don't have a spiritual teacher that is a venerable that is here all the time. So all of you come here because you believe in the cause. You believe because you understand there is law of karma. And that each one of us is responsible for our own self-improvement, for our own happiness. You certainly didn't come here to impress a venerable, because there's none. Right? Or you didn't come here because it's a charismatic leader that cheers you on every time you come. Because we don't have many. So, the spiritual group that went on the pilgrimage journey also had a disabled person with them, somebody on a wheelchair. In fact, this was a bit of a concern, and this was raised to me, whether we should accept the person in a wheelchair to come along, because many of the paths are not flat, and of course it will slow the group down. And I said, yes, I think he should come along. And he did. And I think it's a wonderful thing for the group, because they all took turns voluntarily. They didn't have to be scheduled or rotated or rostered to look after the disabled person. And even if that person may have slowed the group down, I think it's also teaching them patience, to have loving kindness for someone who's not as fortunate as us to have an able body. Right? And it's perhaps a great reminder that what in the world are we complaining about? When you're someone who needs others to depend on, who can't just independently wake up in the morning, get ready, get to the breakfast room, get on the bus. We all take this for granted. So they had someone to remind them of how good fortune they had, good karma. And to see India in its rawest form, in Bihar has got to be an awakening. Has got to stop these people from complaining after they arrive back in Singapore. That is part of the spiritual journey. Because they see beggars just about everywhere, sleeping on the street, drinking from pumps that comes out of the well from the ground. They have to bathe in the river, and the river is not cleaner than them, usually. And in Tahiti today, after the earthquake, the river provides the water for them to drink, right? You read it in the Straits Times front page. So what are we complaining about? I took my daughter across to Johor Bahru yesterday, and when we were walking around, and she said, I can see this is Malaysia. It's not Singapore. Because, you know, the pavements, you got to have able legs to climb on top of the pavement, to walk on it, and then climb down again, because the pavements are not flat. This is something we take for granted in Singapore. You can actually push a baby trolley very comfortably. You try doing that in Malaysia roads. Right? When we were walking around with bags, we have to make sure we put it on the side of the inside, not the outside, so that there's reduces the chance, not to say it removes all chance, that your bags will get snatched. So no point you own all those jewelry, right? You can't wear it in Malaysia. And then I'm told when you park the car, park head in first so nobody can tow your car away while you're shopping. You know, all those fears you have. And in Singapore, we have none of that. It's such a great place. This is like heaven, right? For those of you who have gone to India, knows that Singapore is like heaven. So even in the earth realm, human realm, there are many realms. If you were born in Bihar, in a poor village, no medical facility, no school. I've seen a school there, it's a thatched roof. Our lives are so different here compared to them. So even in the human realm, there are multiple levels. So when we go to heaven, even heaven got multiple realms. So our practice is now. Now, because it even brings us returns actually immediately. When we have kindness in our heart, we actually feel good about ourselves. We all know whether we have kindness in our heart or meanness in our heart. Even when people think that we're kind, but in our heart we're not, we know. Right? When we talk to people how sincere we are, other people may think we are, but we know deep inside whether we are or not. And that is the second factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, right intention. Which another word is right thoughts. On this journey, it's not always the case that you're going to get right thoughts all the time, because bad thoughts will always arise. The question now is, what do you do with that thought? Do you convert that because you become aware? And that's why we practice meditation, to create greater awareness even of our thoughts. So we can change the bad thought to a good thought. Because we all know when somebody makes our lives so miserable, you wish they get run down by a bus. It's not a nice thought, is it? But we know it happens. Well, when that happens, is to say, that's not very Buddhist, is it? We should just tell ourselves that. Not very Buddhist, is it? Huh? Now, be good, be good, be good. It's like a little cricket in your, Jimmy Cricket in your consciousness. You know? Have you watched Pinocchio? There's a Jimmy Cricket in there. We all have a Jimmy Cricket in there. That's not a very nice thought. And remind ourselves, this person also has loved ones. One teacher once said to all of us, if you can't love someone, it's not because that someone is unlovable. It's because you lack the ability to love. Because even the worst of people still have someone who loves them. Usually mothers. No matter how naughty or bad the child is, when everybody doesn't want to have anything to do with this child, the mother will still love him. And that's why the mother's love is usually used as a comparison when you chant the Metta Sutta. But that's not to say every mother is that good. Huh? There will be exceptions, but having said that, that's what we're drawing as a comparison. So why do we have this inability to love? It actually boils down to attachment. We expect other people to be nice. We expect other people to also strive to be good like us. We expect them to be nice to us when we're nice to them. We expect our kids to be filial when we're generous with them, or to be kind back to us. We expect our staff to work with all their determination and energy because we're paying them. We expect our bosses to be decent, good people. Well, most of the time our expectations are not going to be met. And that's the reality. Because of our expectations, we have so many disappointments in life. Then we get angry, we get irritated, we get frustrated. And then we respond to them just like everybody else does. Then we're no better. Then where are we on our spiritual path? But do bear in mind, how we make people feel would cause them to respond to us in a certain way. When we make someone feel lousy about themselves, they ain't going to have a lot of respect for us. Because we know that when other people make us feel really lousy, we usually have no respect for them. Correct? So therefore, what do we have to do? As a Buddhist on this path, is to motivate. That is the path of loving kindness, is to see the good in them. Since we're so good in picking out the 2 bad bricks of everyone, how about we try to pick the 2 good bricks of everyone? If we can just find those 2 good bricks, then can we help them convert their bad bricks into more good bricks? That's when we start living for others. That's when we start wanting to make a positive difference in other people's lives. It's not to pick on their bad bricks. This includes our children. My son just finished his PSLE. There are kids crying when they get 2, 3 something. How many of you got very upset children for getting only 230 points or something? He got 217. I said, great. He wasn't very happy. At least I'm not the one who made him unhappy. He said he got 217 because of his Chinese. But I said, it's okay. Your Chinese has brought you down. It's amazing. You get 3 A's, 1 B. I still get 217 because of one subject, right? And I said, it's okay, because in the long term, having the Chinese is going to be more beneficial than having 230, 240, whatever the score is. In any case, he's going to art school. In life, you just need to do enough. Sometimes, we shouldn't be so ambitious in life. And then we create so much suffering in ourselves. But of course, those who want to be a medical doctor, want to be top lawyers, you've got to get your 2, 4, what? 6, to go Hwa Chong and Raffles and all that, right? How many? Two? Which world are you from? The highest score is 271, isn't it? Front page. Huh? 28 something? No lah. Huh? Who was the highest score? I thought it was 271. 28. Oh, well, whatever. See, when you don't worry about these things, they don't matter. So, now year-end appraisal is coming, right, for most of us in the working world. This is the time that I really have no pleasure as a manager. And when I had 60 to 90 staff working for me, I knew that at least half of them will be unhappy. Because everybody wants a B or an A. And we all know there's a bell curve. So most of you who work really hard the whole year, your aim now is to be a bodhisattva. If you get a C, then say, yes, I'm so happy someone got an A or B instead of me. Because the boss and the company has no ability to make everyone happy, and that includes you, your own happiness is in your own hands. So you just say, it's okay. I give up my B because someone else needs the money more. How's that? Oh, hard, is it? Oh, be a bodhisattva. It's like giving away a donation. When you think that way, you actually get merits for it. You don't have to go and chant 1,000 money pame home. For the same amount of merits, maybe you get even more merits by being generous-hearted. Especially when you're in a situation you can't do anything about anyway. So why fill all your head with thoughts that are really negative and unkind? Might as well be generous. He says, wow, I'm glad somebody else got the A or the B that I should have got. But you know what? I'm going to give it away. And I'm going to give the corresponding bonus away as well. When I was traveling in Europe, I got pickpocketed. 300 euros. But I didn't let it spoil my day. Because I thought to myself, never mind. The person who got it, at least I made him happy. And I think he probably needed it more than me. Right? I just eat one less expensive meal, buy one less Zara shirt or whatever that may be. It ain't going to make a difference to my wardrobe, is it? So just, might as well give it away. Rather than, how come I lost it? Stupid guy, and I'm never going to come to this place again, whatever. And furthermore, learn from it. And then I thought to myself, well, I must have done some things not quite good. So, erase all my bad karma. And on that trip, I must admit, I did do something not so good. You see, so how fast my karma ripens. So I tell people, I'm the last person who want to do bad karma, because when I do bad karma, it ripens so fast. It's like a reminder, a knock on my head, It's like, come on, you've made your vows. You all made your vows? Made my vows. Took my precept under Ajahn Brahm 5-6 times. So every time I do something wrong, kapak. So what I didn't do very well, I had this hotel room, and a friend of mine said, I'll come and join you. So he says, so I said, okay, I'll get an extra bed. No need. I just sleep on the floor. Save money. Alamak, where save money? Now can I pay 300 euro anyway? So would have been better get the extra bed, pay the hotel as I should have, But instead, save the money, give somebody else with interest. There you go. So it just shows in karma, there is fairness. So whenever you lose something, look at your own history. Was there not a time when, we were less than honest? Or we should have done something in a way that was supposed to have been done? And then admit that, yes, it's the ripening of our own karma. And we lost something, never mind. Now you practice letting go. What's the point we come every Sunday, listen to talk, go back, still so angry whenever something wrong happens? And once you have that practice in you, you will stop or you will start to reduce the amount of fear that you have about things going wrong in life. But instead, you know that when things go wrong in life, it is a test whether we actually know what letting go is. Whether letting go is really just in our head or really is in our heart, that we can actually do it. So you don't have to go and get all sort of talisman, what's it called? Amulet, to wear and all that, so things don't go wrong in our lives. How can things don't go wrong in our lives? There will be things that go wrong in our lives. The question is, how do we respond to it when things go wrong in our lives? That is the difference whether you still have happiness or you're going to suffer. When we lose something, we don't have to suffer. It's a choice. When something goes wrong, we don't have to suffer. But that practice has to come now. It has to start now. Yeah? So when bad thoughts come, convert those thoughts. Because when the thoughts are transformed to loving and kind thoughts, then it can be followed by kinder speech and kinder actions. That's where visa completes. Okay. Now I'm going to read something from Ajahn Chah's book. And I thought this is quite a good inspiration. Don't simply praise your mind. Don't simply punish it. Have a sense of time and place with it. When the time comes to praise it, give it a little praise. Just enough. Don't spoil it. It's like teaching a child. Sometimes you have to spank it. Take a small switch and spank it. You can't not spank it. In other words, you have to punish it sometimes. But you can't keep punishing it all the time. If you punish it all the time, it'll simply go astray. But if you keep on giving it pleasure, keep on giving it rewards, it won't be able to get anywhere. So sometimes when things go wrong, it's like giving our mind a spank. And then see whether it knows how to respond. It's a test. But when we are treating other people, even with children, sometimes you have to spank them. I remember being very conflicted when I have to discipline my kids, because I would question, am I doing out of anger, am I doing out of ill will, or am I doing out of loving kindness? When you're less than skillful, you do it with a lot of ill will, because you get so angry. So it's spank without the ill will. It works. So you're not angry. You say, stand here. Actually, you're very cool. Because you're very detached. It's like you're not spanking, it's not like you're spanking your own kid. It's So any kid naughty, bring, I spank. And this one happens to be mine, but never mind, spank. It's like you are a principal of the school. What's the point? Get angry. You expect that 10% of the kids, or hopefully less, are not going to be following the rules. And those who are really flaunting the rules, then you really have to discipline them. And that's what you do even with your own kids. But when parents really don't want to even spank the kids, wow. You're going to have lots more suffering. And I've seen that. Because there's a school of raising kids that says, explain to your child. Make sure they understand. Da, 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 da. I also tried that lah. Because there's also what you call the child who doesn't want to understand. Right? Or unable to understand. Because you also want to stop them from doing something really stupid in future. The mind needs to be spanked. And sometimes to spank the kid's mind is by spanking their body. So at work, we have to be firm. But we can be kind while we're being firm. So this is sometimes a confusion for Buddhists. That when you have loving kindness, then you're like a lembek thing, soft and like tofu like that, no form, no presence, Tofu just melts into the food, right? Some of you are looking at me frowning. Even tofu got form. Yeah, some tofu got firm form. So don't be a Tao Hui Chui. Can be a Tao Hui. Okay, Tao Hui. Not the soft Tao Hui, the firm Tao Hui. But be firm, because when you're firm, you're also more consistent. Consistency is important. That's why we have the 5 precepts, is to keep us consistent. So when we're dealing with staff at work, dealing with our maid at home, is to have loving kindness, because we have to recognize and remind ourselves to recognize that they too are humans, that they too have feelings. In fact, most of the time, they respond based on their feelings if they don't have the self-awareness and the awakening that we have on this path. When somebody hurt us, we feel terrible, we feel angry, and we want to hurt back. As a Buddhist, this is where we stop. We're not going to hurt back. Instead, we're going to recognize that the person did out of ignorance, whatever he did. That the person hurt us because he is probably hurt. If that person doesn't have a lot of love in his life, where does he draw his love from to give to you? You're different. You come to BF to draw love. And that's why the Buddha said, your spiritual friends, your spiritual friendships is everything about our spiritual life. If we surround ourselves with people who are mean, who have no heart, who only want life for themselves, who drink, who smoke, who womanize, who do all the unrighteous things, how strong do you think we would really be to be able to withstand all that day after day with no other inputs? That's why we come here to listen to Dharma talks, to get that boost of love, the boost of motivation, the Dharma back into our heads, because our mind forgets easily. To remind ourselves so we can go out there and be like the lotus in the pond to rise above all that dirt and mud. That's why we come to BF. That's why we read Dharma books. That's why we listen to Dharma talks. That itself is the real merits. It's not the going to temple to get merits. But it's the understanding of the Dhamma. It's where the true merits lie. And then it's in the practice of the Dhamma that's where the true merits are built. It was so powerful when my spiritual teacher once said to me, don't come and make merits. Come and learn the Dhamma. It's not my giving you all these strings and beads and amulets, pictures of myself, that helps you in your path. It's your understanding of the Dhamma, the practice of the Dhamma, and the meditation that we do. That is where our real merits come from. Even Ajahn Chah put it in his writing. If you come here to the monastery to get merits, you ain't getting any. Because your motivation was not pure. Right? So I want something. I go there to get something that's for myself. So in the old days, unfortunately, the temples were very similar in this. Come, come, come. Right? And come and tick, tick, tick. To find out your luck. Then if you want to make your luck good, put some money in the box. Yeah? And then a bigger giant comes along with better marketing, says, oh, my temple can even give you more, 10 times more. So they all flock there. Temple is just a place of worship, so I'm using it generically if you understand what I'm saying. And that's why in BF we're very conscious not to preach that kind of Dhamma. We don't preach wealth Dhamma. But if you understand the law of karma, through your own acts of generosity, the wealth will come your way in one form or another. But more importantly, is the health is the greatest wealth. If you can keep your mind healthy, your body will be healthy. That's even a greater happiness than having lots of money and ill health. So I call this place preventive medicine. This is really where preventive medicine is being practiced. By the time the doctors get to see you, they're doing reactive medicine. True? I have a doctor here, so I'm looking at him. And after they fix you and you still don't know better and you go out and create the same causes, you go right back to the doctor again. This time for a higher dose of medication and a bigger bill. A bigger donation. So you might as well put your donation here. Not in all the hospitals and clinics. Because when you make a donation, it's a form of practicing generosity. How much are we able to let go? Because so much of it is living for the self. If we believe that Buddhist fellowship is really helping you and helping many others, then support the Buddhist fellowship. Because you're living for others. And that's why many of us serve in the committee. Serving in the committee is not an easy thing, but it's part of our practice to learn how to interact with each other, put forth our ideas, and try to get consensus. When we do that at work, it's actually easier than serving on a committee. Those of you who serve on committee will know that everyone is a volunteer. You can't tell people what to do. You have to motivate them. If you don't motivate them in the right way, they quit. Because you don't pay them and you have no authority over them. So it really sharpens up our interpersonal skills. So when you have a chance to volunteer, please do. Because it's in volunteerism that we know really what our motivation is when we are giving. And how strong is our practice? And how then we work with other people who are also volunteering, because you can't tell each other what to do. You can request, you can ask, right? You can coax, but you can't tell. So when we get that skill and we go to work and we use that skill, actually it becomes very powerful. And this is where the general of art of war says that the best way to get people to do things is to make them want to do it. And that's what volunteerism teaches us. So loving kindness in everything we do is about removing that anger that we have when expectations are not met. In responding in a kind way because we understand that everybody wants to get their way. And because we're on this path, we jolly well try to be better than others. Not in a righteous way, but in a humble way that we know ultimately and even immediately brings about happiness. Okay? So I'll end my talk here. Open up for comments and questions, please.
Thank you, Angie, for the Dharma booster this morning. Okay, it's back to the floor for comments or sharings or anything.
Thank you, Angie, for bringing up so many inspiring issues in our life. I was quite intrigued to know that you used a similar. I used a similar abbreviation, VISA, for remembering the Eight Noble Path, Eightfold Noble Path. Okay, I also use VISA. Okay, what I do is I try to couple them. VI, or I call the whole thing visa to a serene and meaningful life. All right, VISA, VI are always coupled together because our view that comes from Dharma and our intention mostly driven by our emotion rather than our thought. So these two has to be combined together in order to guide the next thing in which is our speech and action. Okay, those are the things that are the moral part of our life, having very much to do with our precepts. Okay, now CE stands for serene. Okay, concentration and effort. That is meditation. Okay, in meditation we need effort, not just concentration. Okay, and then the last one, ML, meaningful life. Okay, if we lead a meaningful life, if we do things mindfully, both in the work, which is our livelihood, as well as our social aspect. So I call that ML. So visa for a serene and meaningful life. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So today you have learned a lot about Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah. If I may just add, the effort also has to go into our action and speech. Because sometimes it takes a lot of effort for us not to scold somebody. And a lot of effort to be kind to someone who's not kind to us. So effort is required in many aspects of our practice and our living. Yeah. So those of you who are driving, be kind to other drivers. Be generous by giving way. If somebody cuts into you, into your lane, they've already done it, right? You're not going to be able to knock the car off the lane anyway. You may as well say, oh, go ahead. You know, and you get merits for that because your generosity, you know. You may as well get the merits. Why create bad karma for yourself? Scold the guy, idiot lah, you know, stupid man lah, you know. Oh, stupid woman was woman driver, woman favorite woman driver, bad karma for you. Next life, woman, then you know. That's why I told the monks. I said, you all want to speak against bhikkhuni ordination? Don't think next life you all cannot be reborn as a woman. So some of them very upset with me. Yeah. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Question or comment? Yes, please.
Thank you, Sister Angie, for Visa and MasterCard. Just sharing and comment. We come to this life with a package shaped by our karma. So we are here in a boot camp, right? Whether we treat the boot camp as a camp in heaven or camp in hell, we have a choice. And then the first one, the right view, is like a key to the door. So with the right view, we open the door to the heart, and we can accumulate the dharma and karma, a good karma, in a meaningful way. So with that, we'll have more in our account, the dharma account, and the merit account. We are able to give more. That's my thought on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, one time I asked Ajahn Brahm, I said, it's tough. Sometimes you have to make difficult decisions in the office that affects other people. And his advice was, remember always you're a Buddhist. Yeah. Took me a while to ponder on that and to understand. But I think it has to do with when your last day comes in this life. If last day was today or tomorrow and you have to think about all the things that you've done, usually what will our regrets be? Many of us don't want to think about that this life will come to an end. It's a bit scary, especially those of us who still want to live on, right? But when you're above 40, you start thinking about it. When you're below 40, you're still starting building your life and so on, so you're not so focused on end of life. But end of life is not meant to be morbid, but a reminder of how we want to live our life, given that we have a limited time. Just as when you go on a trip, a holiday somewhere, you have limited amount of time. 1 week, 2 weeks, even 3 days. You think about how you want to spend it. You don't want to go on a trip, then you come back, you say, you know what? I didn't do anything. I just stay in the hotel room every day. Right? Or whatever food you went to eat was all lousy because you didn't plan, or you didn't have any idea what you wanted to try. Even if the food wasn't great, but you said you tried it. You tried the local food, even though you didn't enjoy it as much. But you have had the experience to know and to have gained knowledge. So similarly in this life, we only have a limited amount of time. And we don't even know when. How long more? We all assume it's a long time more, but we can't take it for granted. I keep hearing people, having this illness or got in an accident and died, and so we don't know. So if we only had 1 more week to live, what would our regrets be? Do you regret you gave too much to someone? Do you regret you were too kind? Do you regret that you were too loving? Too gentle? Too patient? Probably not. You probably regret that you weren't kind enough. You weren't generous enough. You wish you were more forgiving. You wish you had been nicer. And these are regrets that we have, and even guilt when someone close to us dies. I have recently a staff who lost a brother. The brother was only 17 years old, just gone to NS. Is that 18? 17, 18? Died in a motorbike accident. The mother was distraught. Wish she had been nicer to the son. Every mother would wish they had been nicer to the children. Every spouse who loses their spouse in an untimely manner wish they had been nicer to their spouse, had been nicer to their mother, more caring, more loving, more giving. So, good job, we're not dying today, or we think. Good job, we're not dying next week, or we think. So we can make a positive change now. Let us not wait. Because we would never regret that we're too kind, but we only regret when we're not kind. We were never kind enough. Okay? But having said that, please be kind with wisdom. Please be giving with wisdom. Because you also don't want to spoil a child or spoil a staff who's not working not doing what he's supposed to do at work. So with wisdom. Metta with wisdom. Compassion with wisdom.
Okay, just an announcement. This one, any vehicles owner of SFW 499C, please remove the vehicle as it causes obstruction. And also the trustees of this place always remind me to our members say that do not park the car near the auditorium. Any owners of this vehicle, SFW 499C? If not, then we probably is upstairs. Okay. And I think there's one question from this gentleman.
Morning, Angie. Okay, it's been a long time I didn't come and hear your talk. But your talk today is evolving. I think all of us are looking at happiness, right? Okay, I just like to bring out this and share to you all. Okay, happiness come from, because I joined the Toastmaster, right? Just to get myself ice breaking today. It's my first day. Okay, and this my sharing is that now because at the Toastmaster inauguration last Thursday, and Ko Tongju, if I'm not wrong, I think one of the Toastmasters speaking on the ice breaking on that day, he's talking about the 3 W and 1 H, but he forgot there's another one more W. Okay, he's talking about happiness he's looking for. Why, what, where, and then how. But he forgot the another W, that is who. Okay, so why is because that he doesn't have the happiness, right? And then he says that what? What? Because he's, why you don't have the happiness is because what? Because you don't know, right? What things? What is happiness that you don't know, right? And then he says that and where? Where is now? Right here and now. Is what always Ajahn Brahm says that in our practice in meditation, say right here and now. That you want to know something, right? This is how I figure out. He says that, where, but he doesn't know. It is now, here and now, this present moment. And they say, how? How? Because he said, you don't do it, you must do it. You see? So I put it another W is that who? Is you have to do it. Nobody else have to do it. That's how I look at it. Same as I think the guest of honor who spoke also about the be careful of what we talk because the tongue has two sides of a blade. It is very interesting when he says that, yes, it doesn't draw any blood. But then when I think is that, how about tongue twister? It is much worse. A tongue twister can kill a person. right? So these are all, I think, wisdom that arises when I hear this all examples, I would say that. I like to look into it deeply always. Why? Because I always listen, when the first time I came to Buddhist fellowship, I hear Ajahn Brahm saying that, we don't bend the facts to face the faith. We bend the faith to face the facts. Because what we are looking at is facts, not by looking at the faith. Because if we follow by faith all the time, we might be going to the wrong direction, you see. So this is one thing which I learned a lot on Buddhist fellowship. And I believe that in the Buddha's lifetime, okay, this is how I feel. Buddha seek everything that he wants to know. But if he don't find, he won't be enlightened today. That's why he seek and find. So are we all together right now. He's trying to send that message or impart this teaching of his to all of us, so that we can seek individually, depending on our own karma, so that we can, and seek and find, so that we can also be enlightened. That is what he meant, that everyone can be a Buddha. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. See, one lesson of Toastmasters can make someone a greater public speaker. So all of you should go and join Toastmasters Club.
In fact, I think our brother went to the Toastmaster session. At the end, there's this speaker by brother Ko Tong, and the husband of Ko Tong Ju. Yeah. In fact, it was delivered the speech. Then, of course, which brother said that, in fact, the guest of honor was Lau Tek Suan.
Yeah.
So, this is, the personal view of each. Just to let members know that if you're interested, then if you have questions regarding on that particular topic or on that speaker, it'd be good to raise on that night, so that our audience will not be that lost how to connect here and there. So just to let you know that anyway it's a Toastmaster night, chartered night. That was 2 days ago. So anyway, it's a very interesting session. We have it 2 days ago. Okay, back to you, Angie.
Just to pick up on the point, I think can the tongue kill? Yes. Kills relationship, kills the motivation of people, kills productivity at work, kills a child's confidence, kills an organization, because of all the negatives are being said. So the tongue extremely powerful. And the tongue never weakens over life, right? In fact, Ajahn Brahm said it strengthens. So as we get older and our tongue get more muscular and stronger, let's make sure that the words we speak are kind, gentle, and beneficial. Then, even when we get older, we may get uglier and less physically able, but we'll still be a gem to this world. Okay? So with that, I'll end. Thank you.